to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at BayStateDental.com.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
That's a sex machine to all the chicks. You're damn right. Who is the man that would risk his neck for his brother, man? Can you dig it? Who's the cat that won't cop out when there's danger all about? Right on. You see, this cat chef is a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
What I'm talking about, Sharon?
Then we can do it.
He's a complicated man, but no one understands him but his woman.
John Shack.
Ladies' morning.
Ladies' morning.
It's The View.
Good morning.
You guys are live.
Good morning.
Maybe it is The View.
Hi, Pete. How are you?
Hello. I had to come on mic because it was like getting to be dead air there.
Oh, no. Good
Don't
morning.
tell
Welcome to the
Kristen
Superintendent Spotlight with WSKB 89.5. I am Denise Rosala, Director of Assessment and Accountability, and I'm here with my co-host this morning.
Susan Dargy, Director of Curriculum and Instruction.
And we are substituting in for Superintendent Zaporowski and Mr. Chris Rogers, who were not able to make it this morning. And as you turned in, Pete, we were talking about it's The View, Ladies' Morning. It's all women here today. We have guests from Southampton Road. But before we start, I know it's traditional to talk about the weather, and it is a cloudy 44 degrees. It's very chilly outside. I think, unfortunately, that winter's coming. And you know that we know it's coming because we get our school cancellation and our list of what we need to do when the snow starts. So hopefully the weather will be good to us and we won't have to cancel school or delay it tomorrow.
Right, but it's sunshine in here, and or maybe starlight. We have with us Kathy O'Donnell, principal of Southampton Road Elementary School. Kathy, can you tell us who you brought with you today?
Yes, I brought with me my assistant principal, Jen Rue.
Hello.
Welcome.
And I also brought Caitlin Bruce, who is our PTO co-president.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We love to hear about everything that is happening at Southampton Road. And one of the things that is my favorite about the radio show is choosing the songs.
And Susan, did you choose the songs this morning or did
not.
Kathy?
Kathy did. I am usually pretty controlling about that, but I knew it was the right thing to do to ask our guests to choose the song. And Kathy did a fabulous job. Her songs are following a certain theme. So maybe that could kick us off today, because I know one of the things that we were going to talk about is your PBIS school-wide focus, which
Yes.
has to do with your song
And
choices.
for our guests and reminders, what does PBIS stand for?
PBIS stands for Positive Behavior Intervention System, and all of the schools do have a different theme.
We are the SRS Stars.
SRS Stars, and other elementary schools have different mascots or themes. So a star is if you stick to it, take responsibility, act respectfully,
Act kindly,
be respectful, you will
indeed
indeed succeed. Yes.
Beautiful.
So that's why all of our songs have stars in it.
Oh, okay. So when we take breaks, let's listen for that.
Yes, we haven't heard any of the three yet, right? We've only heard the theme song. So
Yes.
we will be listening for 3 star songs. Maybe our listeners can be thinking about what those might be. So tell us a little bit more about PBIS at Southampton Road School.
We really try to instill in the students to take responsibility for their own actions and their behaviors, really by giving positive feedback to them rather than a consequence. It's a positive comment or feedback to them. They can earn stars if they do one of the letters of our acronym, if you are a star. And we do have a monthly community meeting on the first Monday of every month. And this past in September, or October. In October, ours was let's start with Hello. That was a national movement that really was focused on 6th to 12th grade rather than the elementary schools. So we looked into that curriculum, and what we did was we started with Hello. A lot of students are tied into even at such a young age, tied into their cell phones. And they've forgotten the art of saying hello to somebody and making that eye contact, talking, including everyone, and just that social interaction. A lot of them are, tuned into an electronic device. So we really talked about the importance of that, knowing in the back of our minds that if children are feeling isolated or alone, because no one's taking the time to say hello to them, that often leads to school violence or depression in children and social anxiety. So we started with Just Say Hello, and we started at our morning meeting. We talked about it, we introduced it, and then we gave all students a little hello. So
For the listeners out there, they're holding up these adorable little signs that have hello on them, and they must
Right.
walk around the school with us, with the children, right?
Exactly. So not every student got one, but each classroom got 3 or 4. And what they did was they just started out by saying, good morning, hello. And they passed it on to
passing it
someone.
along.
And then good morning,
Nice.
hello. And they passed it on to somebody else.
Good morning,
And
hello.
they're still going around the school. So that
so
the
nice.
kids are aware of the importance of saying hello. You'll see them carrying it. And they're not just giving it to friends. They're looking for someone who might need that little extra boost or a friend at that time. So we took it from there, and then what we did was we invited important community members so that kids would realize that it's not just within our school community or their home that they're important enough to be said hello to, but it goes into a broader. So we had the superintendent, Mayor Sullivan came. We had the police department, police chief, fire department with the fire chief, Don Humison, John Velas, they all came, different mornings. Barnes Air Force Base even came. And they just stood outside with us because we greet students every single morning.
Which fits
coming
in
up
really
to us.
nicely with our WeTuba, which is Westfield Education to Business Alliance, which
Yes.
we're talking about those skills students need
Right.
to be successful. And something as simple as looking someone in the eye and saying, hi, hello, how are you, is one of the things that we acknowledged at our WeTuba meetings as an essential skill for our young people. So that's awesome.
So you're modeling that, and you are impacting those community leaders as well, because I know that Mayor Sullivan, I heard him speak on 2 different occasions about the experience of having the students high five him off the bus. He got hugs. It made his week, and I think that's a good reminder for all of us what something so simple can really do. And you had mentioned, Mrs. Rue, the grades 6 through 12, and that is the grant program that we are participating in through the district attorney's office, where the students will get a series of assemblies,
Right.
with Start With Hello being the first one that has already happened, and going through a continuum to suicide prevention and awareness. And at the elementary level, Start With Hello has been an initiative out of the Sandy Hook organization that I know many of our elementary schools have participated in over the years. So it's great that you've taken it to a new level at Southampton Road.
I just want to add the impact that it's had, because we've always stood out front and greeted the children as they get off the buses. But with our meeting, that PBIS meeting that we had with the kids about the hello and the difference, and then starting with these, the kids coming off the bus now, they are saying hello to us. You know, it used to be just us
Just
saying
one way.
good morning,
Yeah,
good
it's
morning,
reciprocal.
good
It's
morning,
nice.
using the children's names. Now they're coming up to us. We get hugs every morning. We get, hi, Mrs. O'Donnell, how are you? And it's made a big impact. It really has.
That's
And then once
wonderful.
they enter the building, they're also saying hello to other people. So I think it's really made a big impact.
Which I think is really, like Jen had said, they're always on this technology, and they don't
Yes.
get that opportunity to interact with each other as well as adults, students and adults versus that. So it's really a positive thing for them. Hence the PBIS.
Right.
As a parent, I just want to say that you guys being out there every morning is huge, because that's not at every school. When I worked at the Y, I went to all the schools, and that wasn't something we saw. So it's nice to know that you provide that sense of community every day.
Yes. Nice to have that from a parent's
Yeah.
perspective. So, speaking of parent perspective, can you talk a little bit about your role in the parent-teacher organization at Southampton Road? How does that operate?
Yeah, so I joined the PTO last year just to help out on one event. My best friend is part of the PTO, and she has children that are now in the intermediate school. But once I was there, I just saw how much everyone does. The teachers, Mrs. O'Donnell, Mrs. Rue, they're there at all the meetings, helping all of us. Every parent steps up to the plate, which is really nice. Different people take on different things. People are helping in the back if they can't make it to the event. So I figured I would stay on, and then I kind of got roped into being the PTO president, which has been a pleasant surprise. It's been really nice. So we are working on a lot of stuff. We have upcoming events. I'm not sure if we're going to talk about them yet, but we meet monthly. We invite new parents to join us, which is really nice. So if you haven't gotten a chance to join a PTO at your own school or at our school, it's something to definitely check out. Makes you feel better about what's going on because I can't be there every day. I work 9 to 5, so to help out.
Well, and like you said, people can work behind the scenes because I know there's a lot of working parents who maybe want to get involved or they're hesitant, but how would they reach out to you as the president, or would they reach out to the school? Like, what if I just wanted to do something behind the scenes at a time that's more convenient to me? How would I approach the school?
Yeah, you could.
We have a few ways of doing that. You could reach out to the school itself. We have parents assigned to each classroom, and they do reach out to the classroom parents. But we also have a Facebook page, Southampton Road PTO, and that is very informational. And we really invite people to join that because Meredith Saloy does our Facebook page, and I have to tell you, she does a tremendous job of keeping everything up to date. The CPAC meeting tonight is canceled.
Correct. That was one of the announcements that we were going to...
I did not even know about it, but I know about it. I know about it because Meredith put it on our Facebook page. So it keeps me informed also.
Well, Facebook and Twitter is what everyone is on, and that's a great way to learn information. And that even as a grandparent, they can join the Facebook and see what activities are being held at the school and being able to support too, because I know grandparents are very interested in helping out as well.
Right. But I have to say, she puts everything on there.
Oh, yeah.
Every
Lunch menus,
everything, every flyer that gets sent home. Yeah, like the menus. But during the summertime, all of the grade level lists of what you need to bring to school. Everything's on there.
That's so helpful for parents.
Very helpful.
So, Caitlin, are any Southampton Road parents that are listening and want to know more about becoming involved in PTO can check out that Facebook page.
Yep.
They can contact you.
They can contact me. Every event that we put out, we put up a flyer, and we try to create an event on Facebook so you know who the chair is. You're also welcome to just message Meredith, and she'll direct you to the right person.
And we have a meeting next week.
Yes, next Wednesday.
On the 13th at 6 p.m. at school, and we provide babysitting.
So we'll talk more about some of the upcoming events a little bit later.
Perfect.
And so back to PBIS, positive behavior interventions and supports. I had the opportunity one day to be at Southampton Road when a training was happening, and it was a Friday, and I was able to make the announcements for students to come down who had been recognized, as you were talking about earlier. Can you talk a little bit about that system and how that works?
The stars.
Yes.
Friday stars.
Yep. Students, we used to do it every day of the week. This year we've gone down to a Friday. Students are recognized by any adult within the building if they do make a star behavior, a choice that is star behavior. If they stick to it, a teacher will write out, exactly how that student stuck to it. They will put it into our star box. And on Fridays we pull 5 names, and they receive a paper, a certificate with the star attached to it, noting what they did, and it's a poem about how to be a star, and signed by Mrs. O'Donnell. And then they get called and recognized over the intercom. They're told, everyone finds out what they did right and how they were a star, and they receive a necklace, a star necklace. So they can receive more than 1 star necklace a year, but we try to make sure that we recognize every student in the school.
By the end of the
year. We try.
Yeah.
Yes. That's wonderful. And that's based on the research that shows that recognizing students for meeting the expectations leads to more success for all of our students.
Right.
And one of the things I know that we try to focus on as well is 5 positive or neutral comments to every 1 redirection. So it's not that we're not holding, we are still holding students accountable for expected behavior, but we are using the research to help us guide those corrections in the way that's most effective. And it is so evident at Southampton Road.
The nice thing about it is that the teachers write explicitly what the child did. So when you read it over the intercom and you're saying what the child did, it's showing other kids, oh, there's another way that I could help out.
Demonstrate
demonstrate,
STA
yes.
or
Now,
R
do the
behavior.
parents get that feedback? So
They get it. It comes
know?
home.
And
The
it,
certificate
and
comes
on the
home with the
certificate,
star on
it
it.
says what the
Yes.
child has
So
done.
it might
That's
say,
wonderful.
it might say Johnny acted kindly by helping a friend when he fell on the playground, and so that would go directly home.
And that's
Yep.
nice too, because parents get that positive note home, which is
Yeah.
not always the case when schools are in contact with them.
We hope they're on all refrigerators.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are.
And the
I'm sure
other-
they are.
The other thing we did start last year is a Starbucks store. So students can now earn Starbucks, and it's a little bit more of a achievement to earn a Starbucks.
Goal oriented.
Yes.
They'll
Very-
set a goal, either a behavior goal or an educational goal. They'll set a goal, and then when they earn the star buck, at once a month, we'll have the kids come and they will be able to spend the star buck at our store, which is supported by the PTO. They buy all the tchotchkes.
Right. And they are all star, and they're worth different values. Are we taking a break?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're looking.
We're hearing
to see,
some
but
things
we
in there,
don't-
but I don't think. I think we can
Okay.
still continue a little
So-
bit longer.
We're
Each
still new and learning.
Okay, each of the items is worth a different value. So some kids will come in, and if they have 5 Starbucks, they will spend them all at once. But then you have kids who are savers and won't buy a pencil for $1, they'll save it. And not only do we have tangible items, we have intangible items. They can get 15 minutes of extra recess. They can visit a prior year's teacher, which is a hot one. They love doing
those are
that.
what they love
Yes,
most,
they
I
love
think.
that.
Love that.
Yeah.
I had one kid come back at the beginning of this year and say, you know, Mrs. Rue, I never got to cash in my 5 minutes with Mrs. Kelly. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. He's like, you know what? Now I want to visit Mrs. Fucci too. So he wheeled and dealed with
Yes.
me to get 2 visits with teachers. So
Nice.
it really is an incentive for them to reach those goals so that they can.
And these
use
are
their money.
more essential skills that are worked into the instruction of PBIS.
Yeah,
We
negotiating's
have-
a big part of
Right.
it, of the adult
You got
world.
this young man.
and
Yeah.
financial literacy that is taught later.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some early development of that. You can save for something that costs more.
Yes.
Or you can choose to
Yes.
get that immediate. So before we head to a break.
Yeah, because I think we're going to head up to a first break.
I just wanted to reinforce that announcement that Kathy O'Donnell made earlier, thanks to Meredith Saloy's
Facebook page.
Facebook page. The Westfield CPAC, Special Education Parent Advisory Council, the meeting that was scheduled for tonight on mediation, that was to be presented by the Bureau of Special Education. That meeting has been canceled because the presenter is unable to attend. The next CPAC meeting will be held on December 5th. The culture of inclusion. And our CPAC group is wonderful. These events are free, open to everyone. Refreshments are available, and childcare is always provided. So we encourage you to think about December 5th. And again, the meeting for tonight on mediation has been canceled.
Okay, so Pete, are we going to take a break? Yes, okay. So you are listening to WSKB 89.5. Susan Dargy and Denise Rosala are in for Superintendent Spotlight for Superintendent Zaporowski and Chris Rogers. We'll take our first break. Let's listen to a song that has a star theme.
Lately, I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. But baby, I've been praying hard. Said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Yeah, we'll be counting stars. I see this life like a swinging vine, swing my heart across the line. In my face is flashing signs, seek it out and ye shall find. Old, but I'm not that old, young, but I'm not that bold, and I makes me feel alive. Lately I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. Baby, I've been praying hard, said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Lately I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. Baby, I've been praying hard, said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Hey. I feel your love and I feel it burn down this river every turn. Hope is our four-letter word. Make that money, watch it burn. Old, but I'm not that old. Young, but I'm not that bold. And I don't think the world is sold. I'm just doing what we're told. And I feel something so wrong. We're doing the right thing. I could lie, could lie, could lie. Everything that drowns me makes me wanna fly. Lately I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. Baby, I've been praying hard, said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Lately I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. Baby, I've been praying hard, said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Oh, take that money, watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I learned. Everything that kills me makes me feel alive. Lately I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. Baby, I've been praying hard, said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Lately I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. Baby, I've been praying hard, said no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. Watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I learned. Take that money, watch it burn, sink in the river, the lessons I've learned.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Welcome back to Superintendent Spotlight. Here today with Denise Ruzala and Susan Dargy. There's no snoozing with Denise and Susan. Before we get back to our wonderful guests, I have a couple of announcements following up on our earlier announcement about the Special Education Parent Advisory Council cancellation of tonight's event. We do have another event CPAC has organized, the Parent Guardian Support Group. This is a free and confidential support group that is organized to help parents and guardians with the emotional journey of raising children with special needs. The next meeting of that group is on Wednesday, November 13th, and that's held from 6 to 7:30 p.m. in the Westfield Middle School Library, facilitated by Jennifer Boggin and Alice Barber. Childcare is provided at that meeting. The very next day, November 14th, the next radio show, Superintendent Spotlight, Superintendent Zaporowski and Chris Rogers will have the Special Education Support Group and CPAC as guests. So that will be an excellent show. We know that having students with disabilities, children with disabilities, does raise special challenges, and we want to meet the need and help support all of our students and their families. Denise, did you have?
Yes, I do. I'm going to, and don't forget, Monday, no school, Veterans Day. So that's one that we don't want to forget, and we want to thank you to all our veterans out there who have done so much for us and give us our freedom each and every day. So I'm just going to do a quick sports spotlight for the sports fans. As usual, our high school teams are doing awesome. The Westfield High School girls varsity soccer won their game against the Monument Mountain Regionals High School 4-0. The on 10:30, the girls varsity soccer won their game against Natick High School 4-1. And girls volleyball won their semifinal game with Putnam 3-1, advancing them to a sectional match on Thursday tonight. So good luck to the girls volleyball. Please come out always and support our volleyball team and our sports athletics. WTA boys varsity soccer won their semifinal games at the Bullen Fields. They made it to MAVADA tournament. Have no idea what that is. Mr. Rogers would know, but listeners will just have to Google that one or look that one up. But they
Pete, can you help us out with that one?
MAVADA tournament, but it's an advancement.
I think it's
so
Massachusetts Vocational Athletic Directors Association.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
They're currently the third seed in the Division 4 in the Western Mass tournament, so that is a great feat for them, and good luck to them. So that's our immediate little sports update that we will do, and we'll leave the rest to Mr. Rogers when he returns next week.
We will. He does love that.
He does.
So October 21st through October 25th, a couple of weeks ago, we had STEM Week, was a statewide initiative announced by Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, who actually visited our district that week to see some of what was going on.
Acronym for STEM.
STEM Week, science, technology, engineering, math.
We have lots of acronyms in the educational world.
do.
Just want to make sure our listeners know those.
Yes, and the theme for STEM Week was See Yourself in STEM. So we had participation all the way from pre-K to 12. We had things happening across the district that were very exciting all through the week. So we'd love to hear what was happening at Southampton Road School during that week.
Okay, so grades K to 2, we're focusing on food waste. And so all week long, they talked about, we kind of focused it on the cafeteria, and they had a tray, and they would put their food in the tray and what they did with that food at the end of lunch. So unique to our school, and our school only, we have a teacher who is a pig farmer. And so in our cafeteria, we have a Rubbermaid, and she goes in and she puts the items in there that would come off of a tray that the pigs could eat. So the kids know what food to put in there. So as the kids finish their lunch, we call them up by the class, and they line up and they go to the back of the cafeteria, where they not only pour their milk out into a bucket so it can go down the drain instead of into the bags, they also take whatever's left over on their tray that can go into the Rubbermaid and put it in there. So we have less waste going out to the garbage.
Those pigs must eat pretty well.
Yeah.
I have seen kids in the lunchroom
Yes.
dumping their whole trays.
Yes, but I will have to say it really depends on what the day is and what the lunch is.
Correct.
Yes.
And you have an
Pizza-
excellent manager who
Yes, we
makes
do.
delicious
If it's pizza, the
food.
pigs aren't getting any pizza because the kids are eating that.
Yeah, most of it. Yes, that is true.
So this waste project was part of the Zero Waste Challenge.
Yes, it was.
Project that was actually statewide, and we were able to have teachers train at Westfield State University.
Yes, they did. Yes, they
So
did.
K-2 focused on food waste.
Yes.
And reducing
And
that amount.
reducing
So
the
you're
amount.
ahead of the curve with
Yes.
the pig farmer
Yeah.
already.
So they did concentration was on apples and pumpkins at our school. Some of the classes had cut open apples to see how long it takes for them to start turning brown and rotting, and that was very interesting because some classes had apples that were bought at stores, and some of them had apples that came fresh
picked
from the
off
orchard.
tree in the orchard.
Yes.
And they saw a difference.
Oh, yes, there was a difference. The ones that came from the store took forever to rot, making you think, what kind of preservatives are put
Are they
in there?
putting on
And, where did it come from? So they, started thinking about things like that. And then also we had our first grade went on a field trip where they came home with pumpkins. And so they are still in the process of documenting a rotting pumpkin.
Okay.
So they had cut it out, made it into a jack-o'-lantern to give it a little extra effort there, and they've put it outside, and now they go outside and they're still recording what
the
happens
different
to
conditions
it. Yes.
that it takes to
Decomposing.
rot. And
Yes.
Right, exactly. Really, depth
Yes.
of knowledge is really deep there.
Yes, it is. And also they're finding out that it also becomes food to squirrels and animals, so they're seeing a few bite marks in it too. So it's not just rotting into the ground. Then our third and fourth grade, they were doing energy waste. And some of them did different things. We had a couple classrooms that did wind turbines. And it was very interesting because they had to design their own wind turbine. And they designed it to see if it would work, and if it didn't work, they went back to the drawing board and fixed it. We used a fan to see if it would move, and then after that, they had to make it a working turbine, so it had to lift something. They made little. They either used a paper cup or they made one out of paper, and they put acorns in it to see if the turbine would lift it up. And so then in other classrooms had solar fans that they used solar panels to make the fans go. And that was very interesting because the weather was not cooperating with us very much that week. So one classroom had to wait until the next day to do theirs, but a lot of troubleshooting went on. And what was really nice about the troubleshooting is that when kids could not figure out what they did wrong with their wires, other kids were coming over that had success in showing them or using theirs as a model so they could troubleshoot it and figure it out.
Which is all about
That
what
is
the
fabulous.
goal of project-based learning
Exactly.
and STEM
Which
is what we're trying to
Yeah.
have
Exactly.
children
That's-
experience.
Yes.
We don't always solve problems our first time around.
Correct.
That's why we work as a team and collaborate and
that's
problem
exactly
solve.
what I was going to
Correct.
ask you. This STEM week projects fit right in line with your school-wide focus on PBL.
Stick to it.
Project-based
Yes,
learning.
stick to it, yes.
Yes.
And be successful. And what's really nice is we didn't stick to just October 21st that week. One of our fourth grade classes that did the solar fans that week, this week did the wind turbines. So they wanted to be able to do everything.
There's so much research that shows you learn more when you fail the first time.
Yes.
And, so trying something and failing at it is not a bad thing. It's part of the learning process, which I think, kids need to learn. And, this follows us throughout our lives.
Yes, we're in the process of taking one of our rooms and turning it into, we're not a STEM room, but a STEAM room. We're putting arts in there because our art teacher is very passionate about it. So we're making a STEAM room. So it's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math.
So it's not a sauna.
No, it's not.
For those
no.
that are
But so
listening.
what we're doing is we're trying to be very thoughtful and careful with designing this room. We have added in some tables and not chairs, but stools And we also have we put a large round table in there so kids can stand around and say maybe they're going to make a volcano or something like that. But we're trying to very carefully make sure that the items that we put in this room are for STEM and it doesn't become a maker space.
Well, and that's what we've been talking about, the learning environments and transitioning those. Even I know our middle school transitioned their library to more of a learning center. We're trying to be thoughtful about that because it should be mobile furniture and Chromebooks.
Right,
which is
collaborative spaces.
Right, which
to
is what our
encourage
vision for our district is.
interaction.
Yeah. I just want to let you know the difference between a makerspace. A makerspace is a space that you would have all types of supplies, crafty things in there, and kids would go in there and make things, versus a STEAM room where they're going to go in and they're going to come in with a topic, make a plan for it, try to make it, fail, redo it, redesign, fail, redesign. Not everything is always going to work. Okay, so the learning process is in the failures.
And that is a change from the way maybe we experience school as learners. And for some of our parents, I think they are expecting teachers to give the students all the information that they need, sort of that empty vessel that we're filling up with knowledge. But that is not what our students need today to go out and be successful in the world.
Creativity, which
outside of the box.
Which you're
and
developing.
creativity is like the number one requirement from our big CEOs in major companies. They want kids or adults with creativity,
thinking on your
thinking
feet,
on their
Right.
and collaborating and that.
Also
So
perseverance.
right,
Exactly.
Right.
They say we can teach
a skill
the
to
individual
anybody.
anything they need to know about our business. We need them to come with the perseverance, the creativity, the problem solving,
And that's coming
collaboration
directly out of
skills.
our, conversations and working with WeTuba as well.
Right.
Is that they are a part of this now, in reaching into our classrooms and working with us to, foster that kind of creative thinking, which is different than what we learned.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's very easy to give everyone the same materials and give them a model, so they're all making the same cookie cutter
and
thing.
there's only one way
Right.
of approaching the
Correct.
problem.
Correct. And then that way they're just copying the model. They're not thinking about it on their own and designing it on their own, because everyone has different ideas and everyone has different gifts. Some people can see it, some people can think it, some people can draw it.
And it's a transition for the kids because sometimes they're just like, give me the right answer.
Right.
Yes.
No, you got to work
No,
on this now
exactly.
and figure it out. And that's not always the path that they want to go down.
Right. And we were in many schools across the district looking at what was happening in classrooms
Saw some
during
amazing
STEM
things.
week. And students who may not have been the students who always shine with a paper pencil task or a discussion of literature, we were seeing them come alive. Teachers were reporting to us where kids are seeing their peers differently, and it was a wonderful week. And as you said, you've already broadened this. We're not just limiting this to a week. We want our students to experience this type of learning.
Yes.
And there is a survey that will be going out. We need to recognize Lauren Figge and Kate Perez. Lauren
Absolutely.
Figge is our science, technology, and engineering supervisor. Kate Perez is math supervisor. And they collaborated to really help organize, especially at the 5th through 12th grade level, many events and activities. At Fort Meadow, we had high school students coming down. We had the Zero Waste Challenge happening across elementary schools and also at the high school level. There was technology waste, which was very interesting at the high school level in the engineering classes. So there will be a survey coming out. We went really big this year with STEM Week, and we need to hear from our teachers with their expertise about what went well and what could be improved for next year's STEM Week. The students in grades 5 through 8 will also be receiving a survey in grades 5 through 8, they had their entire week. The schedule was STEM projects across the day. So theirs was the most intense participation. So we're also going to solicit from them the feedback on STEM week.
And the only other thing I wanted to add is you talked about kids. It's not always the high flyers that shine. We actually had one mother brought in a escape room, and I guess it's something you can rent, and it had boxes that you had to find the code to open. And interestingly enough, a student who has a disability was the shining star in that classroom and had to show everybody else how to do it.
That is an
just
example
shows-
of why we often say differing ability and not disability.
Right.
Yep.
Because everyone, as you said earlier, has the way that their gifts come out, and we all have areas of challenge. So thank you for being a front runner in this in the elementary schools. I know Southampton Road and Westfield Intermediate are the two schools that have chosen to participate in our Boston Science STEM grant, which we have a call to find out more about. It involves some engineering materials that are free to us through the grant, through Boston Science Museum, and free professional development for our teachers.
Correct.
So we do know that free is our superintendent's favorite four-letter word. And we love that word as well, and we're excited to learn more about that. So, Caitlin, do you want to tell us about some of the things that are happening outside of the school day that you are involved in?
Yeah. October just wrapped up. We just had our family movie night. That was fun. We're trying to do things. We've done them in the past. We're trying to add to that, to do fun family free events outside of school time. So people can come in and do things without having to pay a fee. They can get to know, parents of their kids' friends at school, maybe make those connections so that they can get together outside of school time. Upcoming in December, we're going to have our Cookies and Cocoa, which is an annual event for the children to come with their families, do crafts, do different games, activities. We haven't really planned out what we're doing. This year's theme is going to be the Misfits, so the Island of the Misfits. So all the crafts are based around that, the photo booths, the toys from Santa, all that stuff. And we have a New York City bus trip coming up, which we have a few tickets left to sell. So if you're interested and want to join us to New York City, we're leaving Southampton Road School at 6 a.m.
December 7th.
December 7th on a Saturday, and we'll hopefully get to New York City by 10. And then families have the day to do what they choose to do, whether it's something free and easy, go to Bryant Park, check out ice skating and all the stuff there is there, or see a show.
The tree should be lit by then, too.
Yep, yeah, right after Thanksgiving, they make it spectacular. So, and then we'll get back on the bus and go back to school. But that's another family fun event where you'll see people that you don't necessarily get to see on a regular basis and do something you wouldn't necessarily do, because I know driving into New York City can be a lot.
Stressful.
Yes.
So you're doing these events every month throughout the year. There's something happening.
Well, we try to do a free family event every month. September we did our annual picnic.
Yep.
And then October we did a movie night. In December is the Cookies and Cocoa, and then in January we're trying something new. Well, we are doing another movie night in January. Those are usually on Friday nights. But something new that we're doing this year is we're doing a family dance.
Yes, we're excited about that.
We haven't done one of those before. So the nice thing about getting fresh blood in on your PTO every year, new ideas. Yeah. So we usually we've already done our fundraiser, the Yankee Candles, and we usually do a pie and braided breads fundraiser in the fall also because of Thanksgiving. But this year we've elected to do it around Easter instead. So taking a little bit of pressure off of everyone, because we not only do we have the initial fundraiser with the Yankee Candle, we also have our quarter auction coming up on November 15th.
So why don't we take a break right now, because the upcoming quarter auction, I think, is going to be
Yes.
something we really want to chat about a little bit more. I'm
Yes.
very interested on that. And we're right about that midway point. So we listened to One Republic, Counting Stars. So let's see what we have for this break.
Our next star song.
Wherever you are, I just think of you.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning and welcome back to the Superintendent Spotlight. And there's no snoozing with Denise and Susan. I have my co-host with me today, Susan Dargy, and we have the Southampton Road Shining Stars, and we just listened to Madonna Lucky Stars. So they're all themed with the star theme today for our Southampton Road folks. And before we took our break, we were talking about the upcoming quarter auction. But before we get back to that, Susan has a few more announcements about the month of November, which is coming up with our Thanksgiving break, which is in a couple weeks.
Right. So during the month of November, we always have the food drive to benefit our local families. And last year, I know well over 200 families were supported. Ralph,
it was incredible last year.
Yes, and it
was to watch the whole operation was absolutely incredible.
It is an amazing. We're already getting requests from our schools, and I know Superintendent is working.
This year we need turkeys badly because we don't have any from the food bank this year.
So Ralph and Sue Figgy head this up, and I know that they are working behind the scenes beginning a month ago, getting donations lined up. And as Pete said, we are accepting donations and need turkeys
really
this
badly
year
this
in
'cause we're not getting
particular.
them, yeah.
And the donations are being accepted on Monday, November 25th from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. We will have WSKB broadcasting live that day from Westfield Technical Academy's Tiger's Pride, and items will be collected at the school and then delivered at Tech Academy and then delivered out to all of the schools later that day for pickup. You can also drop off items on Friday between 2 and 6 p.m. at Tiger's Pride. And if you come 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., I know Ralph and Sue and all of their crew that they pull together will be available to go out to cars to help carry things in. So
and we'll be live on the radio from 6 to 10.
Correct.
Okay.
And then from 6 to noon on Channel 15 and
I know
WestfieldTV.org.
the superintendent's there. A lot of administrators were there.
Yeah.
We all pitch in. Everyone is kind of behind the scenes doing a lot
Stop by
of work.
and say hello. We'll talk to you on the radio.
Right.
And if
we
they
need,
don't want to bring food, per
we can
se,
bring
they
a gift
I would say
card.
the gift cards, because I know
Absolutely.
a lot of people donate gift cards, which is great.
Right.
That
and
fills
then
in
we
the
can
gaps,
buy the
too.
turkeys.
Yeah,
Yep.
that fills in the gaps.
And I know
So-
Sue does the shopping.
Yeah. No, I think Ralph, does the shopping.
Sue tells Ralph to go do the shopping.
Always the manager. Yes. The canned goods, dry goods of all types that would be part of a Thanksgiving dinner. Perishables, we're looking for eggs, butter, turkeys, carrots, potatoes, and milk. And then we also are accepting the health and beauty items, because those are sometimes the items that go unnoticed or unfilled in the pantries, and the toothbrushes and soap and deodorant that we can provide can really help a family out. We also wanted to point out that shortly before this food drive, Sue Figgy will be the guest on Superintendent Spotlight on November 21st. So she will be providing more information about the food drive, also about our criminal justice program that has begun at Westfield High School, because she is the program advisor for that program and involved in our schools. Ralph and Sue are involved in many ways in our schools, and we appreciate them and all of the people that they bring with them to help. We also wanted to share that we have an event happening on Wednesday, November 20th at the Westfield Intermediate School. This is an event that is co-sponsored by CORE, which it stands for Coalition for Outreach, Recovery, and Education. And that is the new name of the Westfield Drug Task Force. They are now known as CORE under Kathy Coutinho is the leader of that group. And CORE and Westfield Public Schools are sponsoring the event, which is called Strengthening Families to Strengthen Our Children. And Dr. Rob Robinson is the speaker that evening. The topics are communication with your children, setting boundaries, and making responsible decisions as your child grows more independent. So, as the parent of a 16 and 21-year-old, I think this is a fabulous event, great topics.
It's a good timing, too, because, the holidays are stressful and, parents are, at ends wits, and children are not communicating effectively, I think, with everyone. So it's a really good timing for, I think,
right.
an
strategies
event such as that.
To strengthen the family communication.
So
Okay.
let's get back to
Yes.
SRS in this upcoming quarter auction on November 15th. I know this is a really big event for Southampton Road. So why don't you explain to us what it is about and what do you do with these quarters?
All right, so this is our 5th annual quarter auction. So at a quarter auction, what you do is you buy a paddle. You can buy as many paddles as you want, but you get one with or two with your entry fee. And so when an item comes up, say it is a $25 item, it is worth 1 quarter, 25 cents. So if you want to bid on that item for 1 paddle, it's a quarter. If you're going to do both of your paddles, then it's a quarter each paddle. And then what will happen is your paddles have numbers on them, and after all of the quarters have been collected, we pick out, we have spinning balls, they're
A big drum full of
a
bingo balls.
Yeah, and we'll pick out one and we'll call that number. If that paddle is in play, you're holding it, and you win that item. If that number paddle is not in play that time, the person who owns it will say not in play, because they didn't bid on that item.
And how many paddles do you get? Or are you allowed to?
Well, shout out to the Westfield Tech Academy, because they created an extra 400 paddles for us this year.
So there's lots of
We are
paddles.
ready, yeah.
Yes.
So bring your extra money to get your extra paddles. We have a lot of good gifts and auction items. But your entry fee is $10. So your entry fee gets you in the door. It gets you
2
some light
paddles.
refreshments and 2 paddles.
Okay.
And at that moment, if you'd like to, you can go to the extra paddle table.
And how much
paddle,
are the extra?
$2 for an extra paddle.
Yes.
And every paddle has a corresponding number. In
Do you
the big
limit
raffle
the
draw.
number of paddles
Nope.
one person
Nope,
can
that's
get?
all up to you.
I think I had
So how do you
7
hold
last
up
year
all
for the
these
sale.
paddles?
Fan them out. Yeah.
Yes, so that's why I'm holding them like this, because they do
Yeah.
fan them out like this.
Right.
So-
We're on the radio, though, so
Right.
the
Well, there
fan
are
is...
some.
$15 at the door, though.
It is $15 at the door, but we're only going to have limited number of tickets for the door. There are a few people who just they don't do it online. They're not interested in that. We have been helping a lot of people because our goal is to just put everything through PayPal so we can have nice one big list. So we've been meeting with teachers and families and getting their money and getting them, their tables. We have high tops of 4. We have 6-person and 8-person rounds. So if you want to get a table beforehand, you're welcome to. We've sold 169 tickets.
Wow.
We
That's
are limiting
excellent.
it to 250. I mean, we could push 375.
We don't want
but we don't want to do
room.
that.
We don't want it crowded.
We want to give it to the families. We want you to have a good chance. You want good odds. So we have 250 tickets, and that's it. We're capping it at that.
And where do you get the items for donation or?
Well, it depends. Some of the items, we have vendors that come to this, and I'm telling you,
Can we
have
talk about
awesome
the vendors? Yeah.
Yeah.
We are keeping it local. So one of our vendors is from East Hampton, but she's a koozie maker, and she makes them all herself. Mama's Boutique. And then the other 3 vendors are all from Westfield. So Tim Dubai of Rustic Creations. If you follow our event page, he just donated a giant bench, like a rustic red. It's going to look beautiful on someone's lawn for Christmas. Like, it's really nice. I want it. We have B. Bella Boutique, which is a new Westfield business I'm sure everyone's seen recently. She has her truck she calls Big Bertha. She drives around and sells like really nice clothing items and jewelry and stuff like that. And then we have our own Southampton Road school parent, Valerie Hansen, who does so much for our school. She donates cupcakes and her time. She just ran the bake sale.
The bake sale that we had voting day. Yep.
And she's going to have her cupcakes there. So you can.
Frosted swirl.
Yep.
You see her truck around town.
Yep. And she always sells out before the event even starts. So if you know you want those, you get to that table quick.
So when do you start planning this event?
A couple months ago.
Yeah, a couple months ago. Yeah.
Well, in the summer.
I will say this, that once the event is done, we start thinking about next year. what things that we might change or do differently. But you asked about where do we get the items. So the vendors will donate items. I'm sorry, they don't donate for the auction itself. They put items in the auction, and for their items, they get the quarters for those items. But then we have our house items, and our house items are most of them are sponsored by parents or area businesses.
Yeah, we
So
should probably give a
the only other thing, we'll do that. The only thing I wanted to say, back to the paddles, when we draw the numbers, if that number is out of play, we keep drawing until we get a winner. Just so that you know.
And if you win something, your number goes back in. You have a chance
Yes,
to win
all night
over and
long.
over. Yeah, you're not taken out of play.
Yeah. So some of the items that we have are. Why don't you talk about some of the big items that we have?
All right. So Kathy was mentioning the different items. We have in-house auction items, and a lot of those. So we split them up by denominations. So it's a $25 item, which is a quarter bid, a $50 item, which is a 50-cent bid, $75 item, which is a 75-cent bid, and anything over anything over $100 is a dollar bid. Those are our big items. That's where a lot of our sponsors came from. So we have our biggest one is an $800 catered party for $50, which was donated by M&M Hogalicious Catering.
Wow.
You're going to bid on that for $1. You could win an
I want
$800
that.
catered event.
That'd be great. I want that.
And their
He catered our
barbecue is
Teacher Appreciation
awesome.
Week, and it was amazing.
And
I
Pete,
know-
Pete
uh,
has had
Pete
their
has had
barbecue.
Mike Puza,
So
his
good. Their
barbecue is
broccoli
really,
slaw.
really good.
I
Yeah.
mean, I could eat a
He's
sheet.
giving his endorsement.
I think, Pete, you're going to attend this event, I guess, right?
Yes, actually, we
it
should
open to
announce
the
it
public?
is open to males, females, anyone, grandparents. Yeah, this is not just like a parent
But
only.
once you make your cap, you have to buy tickets in advance.
Yes, but we do have a lot of men coming because I think
but
that's
we are
kind of
going to have
question.
tickets at the door.
Oh,
We are
okay.
going to have some. Yeah, we're letting
Limited.
some at the door. We wanted you to know that we're having it at Shaker Farms this year. We had in the past, the first 3 years we had it at Southampton Road School, and because we were just beginning, just learning about it, and then
Snow day.
we had a snow day last year, so there were no evening events. So we were very, very fortunate that Gateway was supposed to have a prom at Toccoa that night, and because it was a school-sponsored event, they
That
could
was
not go.
canceled.
So we came in, and Toccoa gave us their slot. So they gave us a great price to come in, and we had a phenomenal night. We filled that ballroom. It was amazing. So then we decided that, you know what, maybe we need to do it off-site so we could have a bigger event. And this year, Shaker Farms gave us a great price, so that's why we're going there.
And I heard a rumor that you have someone who's the auction caller.
We have
who-
3.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So Stefan has stepped up to help us out.
Yes,
Superintendent
Zaporowski.
Bo Sullivan from the school committee will be making an appearance for a little while.
Excellent.
And then Representative John Velas will be joining us.
Yes.
Nice.
So we have
Very
3.
nice.
Yes.
And what time does the event start?
7 o'clock. Well, 6 o'clock is open for drinks, raffles, which we have a number of raffle items that are great. I know
Great
we're gonna run
raffle
out of
items,
time, but
yes.
if you check out the Facebook, we're posting every day something new. So a new raffle item, a new detail of information.
And the actual auction starts at 7.
That sounds like an amazing, fun time. So
and a great fundraiser. And
For the
the
school.
funds raised
We'll go directly back to
to the PTO
Yep.
and doing these free family events
Yes.
that you do.
Including, we also have enrichment over the course of the year that the PTO pays for the whole school.
for students
Yep,
to
students,
stay
yep.
after. And
I know we're going to run out
Some
of
of them
time.
during the
yeah,
day.
we are.
I just want to give a little shout out
That's all
because we
right.
did say M&M Hogalicious, which is amazing. But JL Raymakers and Son sponsored some Patriots tickets. Jeremy Lambert of Park Square Realty sponsored some Celtics tickets. Chris Cook of Rovithis Realty, I always struggle with that. She sponsored a lottery tree and $50. So you just get a framed $50 bill to do whatever you want, which is, people always love that. They put their quarters in.
Awesome.
We have some more. Kathy O'Donnell, our principal, sponsored a Coach purse. And her husband's
Nice.
business sponsored Bruins tickets, which we have
Wow.
not announced yet on Facebook, but we got a hat trick. We got 3 different sports that we're going to get out there.
Awesome.
That's
For
you're
professional
hearing it
traffic
for the
system.
first time here on Superintendent
That's right.
Spotlight.
Yes.
That's right.
The
No
scoop.
snoozing.
No snoozing
Gonna
with
miss
Denise
it.
and Susan.
That's right.
So we have just really a few more minutes left, and I know we just talked about Thanksgiving
And the food drive.
food and that. And I know Southampton Road does a food pantry, so it kind of ties into how we help the needy families in our schools and in our community. So would you like, in the last few minutes that we have, share a little bit about what you do for your food pantry?
Yeah, 1 second. You had a couple more people that you want to shout out to?
I keep yapping, but Roll and Clap is donating a $450 upholstery gift card.
Wow.
So you can have something upholstered. And then Safe Hands is donating a Michael Kors purse. So I just didn't want to miss them on those shout outs.
This is the event.
So you have a lot of
to
great,
attend.
great supporters
Yeah.
for
So-
Southampton Road.
Southampton Road School has our own food pantry, and what we do is we have children bring in items. I know everyone can go through their closet and find something that the expiration date is not up yet, and you just haven't got to using. So, what happens at our school is that we have a lot of families who find themselves in difficult situations where they're not sure where their next meal is coming from. So what we do is we have them contact either us or our school adjustment counselor, and we have them come in and we give them bags of food. We let them pick it out themselves because we want to make sure it's items that the kids are going to eat. We also try to follow up as much as we can with gift cards to either Big Y, Stop and Shop, or Walmart. Walmart is good because not only does Walmart have food, but you can also get socks and underwear and diapers and other essential items there too. But for our food pantry, we are going to start collecting this month so that we can build it up, because people don't realize that it's not just Thanksgiving or Christmas that people need this. It's all year round, and it's really tough at the local food pantries during those winter months because people are not, they only think about it around the holidays. And at the end of the year, whatever we have left over in our food pantry goes down to the city food pantry so that it doesn't get wasted. And we also have people that will go through and check dates for us consistently so we can rotate our stock. But we are planning on having some days that will have the kids bring in, say, one Friday, everybody bring in cereal. And then we'll have incentives that we can have for the kids.
And that's the one thing I think Westfield's community and schools do really, really well.
They do.
Is give
Take
back
care of
and
each
take
other.
care of each
Yes.
other.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
and I know, your school does a food pantry. I know the majority of our schools
Most of them
that
do,
as
yes.
well.
Pantries,
And it really is just because we have a lot of families who, like you say, are in need, and we want to help them out
But
whenever we can.
You never know when the circumstances are going to change.
correct.
Okay?
Exactly.
So there are people out there that do seasonal jobs. And then all of a sudden, they planned on doing snow removal, but there's no snow.
Correct.
Or that the family dynamics change, and then they're left with, I don't know what to do.
Right.
So those are
thank
the
you.
families.
Thank you so much. Kathy O'Donnell, Principal of Southampton Road, Jennifer Rue, Assistant Principal, Caitlin Bruce,
Co-president
of
Co-president.
Co-President of PTO at Southampton Road. Thank you for all you do for the students and the families at your school. And thank you for being on Superintendent Spotlight today, telling us all about it.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it.
And our time, unfortunately, is up,
up.
and it went by very
goes
fast.
fast.
It
Yeah.
does. We've enjoyed, your company and seeing what you do, the wonderful things at Southampton Road. So, our last, would you tell us what our last star song is going to be, Kathy?
It's Shining Star by
Shining
Earth, Wind, and
Stars.
Fire.
So, it's been great, Southampton Road Shining Stars. Hopefully you will be back again. And Susan and I have had a great Superintendent Spotlight show, and we look forward to being co-hosts together again, Susan.
You guys did a
We
nice
did.
job.
We're good
Yeah.
at this.
Professional.
We do
Good.
okay.
That shining star. No matter who you are, shining bright to see what you can truly be, what you can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you